Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trash Academy. My name is Eliseo, and in today's lesson, we're going to be talking about global solutions to plastic pollution. Now, this whole lesson is going to be looking at fossil fuels and how it's contaminating our planet and also hurting our health. Now, in this lesson, we're also going to be talking about alternatives, different ways that we could actually get energy that is a lot cleaner, that is sustainable, and that is a lot safer to use for everyone and everything here on planet Earth. While we have talked a lot about plastics in this class, it is really important to also talk about fossil fuels, because most of today's plastics that we find all around the world are actually made from fossil fuels. Now, over the years, we've grown dependent using more and more plastic material and more fossil fuels, which have caused a boom in refinery plants all around the world. Not only have these large factories filled our environment with low, cheap, toxic chemicals in our plastics, but they have also released a ton of chemicals into our air and into our water. Many of these factories have been proven to illegally dump all this toxic waste into our natural environment without any penalties or without any consequences. All these chemicals and pollution that is coming from these large factories have been known to cause cancer in many people and reproductive issues in both men and women. Not only has this been a problem in the past, but it continues to be a problem today. And with the growing population of people worldwide and the growing demand for plastics, we can imagine that in the future, we're going to see a lot more refinery plants, a lot more oil extraction, and a lot more plastic. Now, here are some pictures from various places from all around the world, and this actually gives us a glimpse or even a warning about what our future might look like if fossil fuels and plastics continue to be made, used, and thrown away. We can expect more oil spills, more extinction of animals worldwide, and more poisoning of communities all around the world by the production of these plastics. But what if I told you that there was a better way to power our cars and power our homes? A way that is safer, that is cleaner, that is sustainable, and that is also renewable. Now, making that switch from fossil fuels to renewable energy might actually look a lot like this. Now, these are windmills, and this invention and technology has been using the wind as a form of free energy in order to power our homes and our buildings. Now, these windmills are sustainable, they're clean, and they don't release any pollutants or chemicals into its natural environment. Now, today there are so many windmill designs that some of them even look like trees. Now, here we have one that actually looks like a tree, and these could actually be put in parks, neighborhoods, and even outside of buildings. Now, using wind energy isn't the only way to cut down on fossil fuels. There are so many other resources out there that actually can power our homes and power our buildings. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the oldest organisms on this planet and where it gets its energy and how we can actually learn to do the same. Now, plants are some of the oldest organisms on this planet. They've been around for millions and millions of years. And as we all know, plants actually get their energy from the sun by a process called photosynthesis. Now, what you're seeing on the screen is a bunch of solar panels that actually capture energy from the sun and can power our homes and our buildings. Solar energy is clean, sustainable, and sunlight is also free. Here we have a picture from Break Free from Plastics that helps us explain a little bit more about how plastics are made from start to finish. We could see from this picture that all plastics start off as oil, and oil starts off at an extraction site, deep inside the earth. From there, all that oil then needs to be transported to a refinery plant, and this is where the plastic production starts to begin. Once those plastics are made, then all those plastics are taken to stores all around the world for people to buy. Then those items are sold, they're bought, they're used, and all that plastic pretty much becomes just waste. Now, all that waste ends up being buried in landfills, being burnt at incinerators, or basically just as plastic pollution out in our natural environment, ending up in all our oceans. While going over this life cycle of plastic, we could see that the life cycle of plastic isn't actually a cycle at all. It has a beginning and an end. It begins as oil and it ends up in our environment as pollution. Now, as we look at the life cycle of plastic here on the screen, it might give us an idea of how to actually solve this plastic pollution problem here on Earth. We've talked about many downstream solutions, such as cleaning all the plastic from our oceans, cleaning all the plastic from our beaches. But when we look at this life cycle of plastic or the beginning of plastic, we could actually think of different ways that are upstream, having all these giant companies actually change their material or change their packaging in order to stop giving so much plastic out to consumers and into our planet. Now, when I think about life cycle, I actually like to look at plants because plants actually have the most perfect life cycle that I could think of. Now, we all know the life cycle of a plant, and we all know that it starts off as a seed. From that seed, you plant it in the ground, then a small plant emerges or pops up from the ground. From then, the plant starts to grow, creating more leaves and flowers. Now, once it has flowers, it is pollinated by different insects such as bees or butterflies. Then that flower then starts to produce seeds, returning back into that seed form and continuing that perfect life cycle of a plant. During this lesson, we've talked a little bit more about the life cycle of plastic and how the life cycle of plastic actually isn't a perfect cycle at all. Now we know that plastic has a beginning and an end, and now we know that it is a more linear approach or a linear lifestyle. We've also talked about plants and how plants are the perfect role model in order to make a sustainable and healthy product that actually goes back into that perfect circle, creating a perfect life cycle that is safe and doesn't create any pollutants or cause any harm to our planet. Now here on the screen, we have the two examples of a linear approach and a circular approach. And now I'm going to show you a video of what this might actually look like in today's world.
Living systems have been around for a few billion years and will be around for many more. In the living world, there's no landfill. Instead, materials flow. One species' waste is another's food, energy is provided by the sun, things grow, then die, and nutrients return to the soil safely. And it works. Yet as humans, we've adopted a linear approach. We take, we make, and we dispose. A new phone comes out, so we ditch the old one. Our washing machine packs up, so we buy another. Each time we do this, we're eating into a finite supply of resources and often producing toxic waste. It simply can't work long term. So what can? If we accept that the living world's cyclical model works, can we change our way of thinking so that we too operate a circular economy? Let's start with the biological cycle. How can our waste build capital rather than reduce it? By rethinking and redesigning products and components, and the packaging they come in, we can create safe and compostable materials that help grow more stuff. As they say in the movies, no resources have been lost in the making of this material. So what about the washing machines, mobile phones, fridges? We know they don't biodegrade. Here, we're talking about another sort of rethink, a way to cycle valuable metals, polymers, and alloys so they maintain their quality and continue to be useful beyond the shelf life of individual products. What if the goods of today became the resources of tomorrow? It makes commercial sense. Instead of the throw away and replace culture we've become used to, we'd adopt a return and renew one, where products and components are designed to be disassembled and regenerated. One solution may be to rethink the way we view ownership. What if we never actually owned our technologies? We simply licensed them from the manufacturers. Now, let's put these two cycles together. Imagine if we could design products to come back to their makers, their technical materials being reused and their biological parts increasing agricultural value. And imagine that these products are made and transported using renewable energy. Here we have a model that builds prosperity long term. And the good news is, there are already companies out there who are beginning to adopt this way of working. But the circular economy isn't about one manufacturer changing one product. It's about all the interconnecting companies that form our infrastructure and economy coming together. It's about energy. It's about rethinking the operating system itself. We have a fantastic opportunity to open new perspectives and new horizons. Instead of remaining trapped in the frustrations of the present, with creativity and innovation, we really can rethink and redesign our future.
Now, in our ban list 2.0, also known as the Better Alternatives Now list 2.0, you can find different ways in order to stop using so much plastic in your daily lives and make that switch from plastic to reusable. Now, if any of you are curious about making that huge switch in your life, or you would like to learn a little bit more about our ban list 2.0, I would like to invite you all to visit our website at 5gyres.org. Now, I want to thank all of you for joining us here at Trash Academy and for learning more about plastics that surround our life. Now, my name is Eliseo, and I hope to see you all in our next season of Trash Academy. Hasta luego.